So in this video, I'm going to be looking at the new rigger gear set that just released with Title Update 12. And if you can't really tell by now, yeah, there might be some cheese here. This might be a little bit ridiculous, especially in PvP where everyone kind of hates the skill cheese. Now, real quick, just looking at the actual set, it's not that good, and I'll explain this as I go on. But, 2-piece, you got 15% skill haste, 3-piece, 15% skill duration. And then, of course, whenever you basically deploy a skill or, change a target or heal a skill, you get a 25% skill damage bonus for 10 seconds. And this buff can't be, refreshed. So basically, you just have to apply it after it expires. That's pretty much it. So overall, this brand set doesn't really provide much in the way of 2, 3, or 4-piece, beneficial uses. I mean, it's just kind of very basic, very boring, very simple. It doesn't offer very much. However, I think the key to this gear set is just the backpack itself. The backpack talent allows you to cancel your skill and it instantly resets the cooldown. So if you throw out a skill, throw it in a bad place, you want to basically cancel it, throw it out again, you can do that. All right, the chest piece, it's a nice buff. It gives you a 50%, so basically 25% more damage. But again, it's not really that impressive when you consider the other talents that are already on the gear. If you're basically just sacrificing everything for a 4-piece gear set, you want a really strong bonus. And unfortunately, that's not really what this gear set offers. This gear set is kind of a one-trick pony in terms of real effectiveness. And again, I think that is found in the backpack itself. Now, what I tried with this build was just trying to experiment. I was just, messing around with it. I wasn't doing anything serious. I was just playing around because obviously it's a new gear piece and I don't have this stuff yet. So I equipped it with the Memento backpack and I really wanted to see what kind of, bonuses I could get for it, how much damage I could put out with it. Now, of course, I also want to mention that I did test it out with the Eclipse backpack, the symptom aggravator, and I guess they did nerf it. It said something in the patch notes about adjusting it or fixing it. And as far as my testing goes, yes, on status affected targets, it no longer works with a single piece. So I guess even though they didn't update the description, you do need those 4 pieces. So yeah, the single piece is kind of out the window at this point. But anyway, looking at the set, like I said, it doesn't really offer that much. I mean, when you compare it to, something like Glass Cannon, where you're getting that 25% amplified, and you're also, getting the brand set bonus, you're getting, the additional attribute. I mean, there's a lot more variety, a lot more, ways you can go to improve your build. I mean, if you're going for a status effect build, you got skill damage and you have status effects. So you can increase your damage by a lot more. If you're just using the 4-piece, let's just say, gloves, knee pads, holster, and mask, you're missing out on most of the benefit of the set. It's not going to provide you that much because the 2 and 3-piece are extremely weak, and I would honestly say a bit pointless. I mean, duration and skill haste, yeah, they're not that good. I mean, there's really no reason to have 15% of either of those as a reason to build around. It's not going to make a good build. I mean, I put out builds when, TU8 launched, when, TU9 launched around the skill builds. And I was getting a lot more damage on my turret and my drone than I could get on this. So it really doesn't feel that good. Now, that's not to say that you can't use it whatsoever. But again, the damage that you get with this version is just not good. You can just get so much more damage from any other combination of brand sets or gear sets. So I really just wanted to test out the backpack because, as I already indicated, that seems to be where the biggest power lies in this gear set. Now, of course, we're going to see some very easy things here, right? This is how it works. You throw out a skill, you use it, whatever, you want to, cancel it, you want to reposition it somewhere else because the enemy moved. You can do that incredibly quickly. And this is a good benefit. But at the same time, is it really worth it to, get an immediate deployment of your turret again over just waiting, like 12 seconds for it to just come back naturally? Do you want to completely build your gear set around that? I mean, for the most part, people use their turrets and basically sustain the fight that way. But I mean, I guess if you did throw it in a bad spot like that, I intentionally did that, you could reposition it really quickly to start firing again. So is that benefit enough to actually warrant using this brand set? Well, honestly, I don't really think so. Most of the skills that you can just reposition like that, I think it's better just to have that cooldown period and just reposition it again. But that's really up for you to decide. If you need it now, then maybe you want it. But the problem is a lot of the skills don't actually have a ability to be reset. So if you're looking at something like the sticky bomb, it doesn't really have that benefit, because once you shoot it, you can't destruct it, basically. Like, it explodes and it goes on cooldown. Now, going back to the turret, the incinerator turret or flame turret, whatever you want to call it, it has not really been a fan favorite. It's been pretty much a shitty skill for a while. And this is because it has a huge cooldown period. It's, very awkward to position. It's just not doing enough damage, most of the time. It's kind of a shitty skill. But this at least allows you to rapidly deploy it in numerous locations, and that can at least help you keep the enemy from pushing up to you. I mean, that allows basically the biggest hindrance of this skill, which is the long cooldown and the bad positioning, to be negated. So you can constantly reposition it, constantly push it into different locations, constantly use it to push up at the enemy. So that is a nice feature for it. But again, going into other skills, looking at the Seeker Mine, once you throw the Seeker Mine, unless it doesn't explode, so if you throw the Seeker at the end of combat, yeah, you could potentially just, destroy it and then get it immediately back. But I mean, you're at the end of combat anyway, so is that really useful? For the drone, there's a few options. I mean, you could instantly get your defender back. You could, potentially get your fixer drone back if that's really a huge worry for you. And I mean, of course, you could get the striker drone back. But again, that's not really that big of an issue. I mean, that seems like a huge waste for just, that talent. And also, another issue remains with the shield. I mean, you can't really unsummon it, right? I mean, you release it, but you don't get it back. It doesn't go on that cooldown to reset it. So there's really no point in using it with the shield. And, we see this pattern with most of the skills. With the Hive, for example, it does not reset the cooldown on all of the charges. It doesn't even reset it on one charge. It basically just, I honestly don't even know what it does. It just stops the cooldown timer on it, but then it doesn't actually activate any of the charges. So it's very weird. So again, here's another skill that is completely useless for this gear set. And we can see with the chem launcher that obviously there's no way to unsummon the chem launcher, right? I mean, you can't deconstruct it, you can't destroy it, you can't do anything with it. It just you shoot it and that's it. So there's no point in using the chem launcher with this set. Again, same thing with the blinder, same thing with the pulse. I mean, with the exception of the remote pulse. The remote pulse is the only thing that actually has the ability to be destroyed and then thrown again, which maybe that's useful for some people. But again, I think the most, power is in the overcharge, which no one ever uses because it's ridiculous to use it. So really, there's no point in even using that either. So that leaves you with basically the last two skills, which are going to be the trap and the decoy. So in total, you have the incinerator turret, the trap, and the decoy that are actually beneficial with this talent specifically. Now, if you look at the actual decoy, this kind of hits on the, I know there's the exotic sniper rifle, I forget what it's called, but whenever you, kill an enemy, I think it was with a headshot, you reset the cooldown on your decoy. Well, this gear set pretty much does the same thing. Whenever you destroy your decoy, you get it right back so you can throw it again. This might be a huge benefit in some of the higher difficulty content because, you can just throw it out there again and, never have to worry about, your actual skill being down. This could also have a huge detriment in PvP because we all know that in the Dark Zone, going after somebody who's rogue and they're throwing out this stupid decoy, it can create a lot of problems because they can get away. Obviously, they disappear from your radar unless you have the pulse. You can't really see where they're going. So this could be even more annoying for them. They could definitely throw out their decoy and just, destroy it once you got close to it, throw out another one, and then they're gone. That could be a huge benefit. But I think the biggest skill that would benefit from this is actually the trap. Any of the traps. You look at the shock trap, you throw it out there, throw it out an enemy, zap them, cancel it, throw it again. And you can do this for all of the traps. So that includes the Shrapnel Trap, which could be a disaster for, certain content. I mean, in PvP, it might be might not be the greatest skill, but if you're, spec'd into tankiness or you're running the shield or something like that, then this skill could be just a spammable annoyance. I mean, just constantly throwing these mines at people, quick tapping it, getting that cone in front of you. Yeah, I could definitely see this being a rage-inducing talent. Some players are just going to just absolutely go apeshit because they're just constantly being hit by these mines. And even if they did nerf the damage on, the mines since the last patch, they're still going to be doing a good amount of damage, especially if you can just constantly cancel them and throw them out over and over and over again. And of course, that leaves us with the healing trap or whatever it's called. It hasn't been used by most players, and it isn't really that good. But this does give you the ability to constantly spam a healing skill. So you could theoretically just hide in the back and just constantly spam these traps on allies who are in cover ahead of you. So basically you could just toss it out, destroy them, toss it out, destroy them, toss it out, destroy them, toss it out, destroy them. And I can't really say how effective that will be, but I mean, if you did invest into a full healing build with this, that might be something that's incredibly beneficial. And maybe even in the dark zone, this might be something that's a little bit insane. I don't know personally. I haven't tried it out yet, but I see the potential there. There could be some huge potential for using this in PvP, and there could also be some benefit for using it in PvE, depending on how your team plays. But overall, the set itself is very unimpressive, and the largest amount of power that you're going to find is based on those 3 skills with that backpack talent. You could use it with other skills, but again, the drone, the turret, the hive, they're not really getting that much benefit. Getting it back immediately after you destroy it doesn't really matter that much because it is a duration-based skill or a charge-based skill in the case of the hive. And like I said, the hive doesn't get the charges back, and cutting 12 or so seconds off the turret or the drone isn't really that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, if you really wanted to push up really quickly all the time, maybe, but I think that seems to be more of a thing for lower difficulty content. If you're playing legendary or even heroic, you're probably going to be more along the lines of holding a position and keeping your turret or your drone, active all the time. You're not going to be pushing up that often to make it a huge difference. But, that's just my opinion on it. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.